Scoot that way just a little bit for that camera. There we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Mossberg. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Every year they go above and beyond.
They do. That's for sure.
Kids, so what are you doing there,
Steve?
Pet raccoon.
I was just looking at that coffee there.
Steve Barber's with us today. I'm going to show you on camera. You see this right here? It's a bottle of bourbon old fashioned I bought in Jackson Hole. And I gave Andy a bottle. Sent back 4 bottles. One for Andy, one for me, one for the lodge just to drink, and then one at the house in case I wanted an extra one. I'm not a big drinker, and this stuff is very, very good. Steve somehow now has democrated this half a bottle to take home with him. So there you go, Steve Barber. There you go.
What's the alcohol percentage in that? Look on the back right there. Yeah, right there.
30% by volume.
30%. Is that stout or not?
It's good. That's a good number.
I have had, I'm not a big whiskey drinker, but we were in Jackson Hole. Me and Michelle went to this little liquor store, Spirits or something. And they sold this, and I tasted it, and it was really good. So, like I said, I bought some bottles, and it's made, I looked on the back, Yahara Bay Distillery in Wisconsin. So if anybody's from up there, and you can buy that direct and ship me some, let me know. I'll be more than happy to send you some money, because I'd like to I would buy a case of that.
Yeah, so I can get a full bottle next time I'm out here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But anyways, that's really good. That's a very good old fashioned.
You know, Jeff is drinking weed now.
No,
Really?
I didn't buy none yet.
Oh,
what is weed?
Willie's weed.
Oh, Willie's he's gonna die with it.
He's 140 years old, Steve. He's doubled you already.
I love his music, but good God, I saw him on a tribute to. I think he was Christopherson, or maybe a tribute to himself, but he didn't know where he was, and his 2 sons didn't have a clue where they were either.
Did you ever see him play live?
Yeah.
You did?
Saw him at Billy Bob's 3 or 4 times.
What year?
Oh, probably last time was probably 7, 8 years ago, and went to one of his picnics with my ex-brother-in-law, and we carried a cooler of beer. I don't know how many miles. And when we got close to the stage, there was a drunken gentleman that had fallen in a fire ant bed.
Ooh.
And nobody was helping him. He was eaten up with fire ants. And I told David Wilson, who's, like I said, he was my ex-brother-in-law, he's now dead. I said, I have been to one Willie Nelson picnic. I will never come back because you got to walk so far.
Oh.
That's when he had it. Down around Austin, I think they have it. I don't know where they have it now. Most of the time, it's out of state somewhere.
So what's the picnic? I don't know anything about this.
They have a fundraiser for farmers, American farmers, and that kind of stuff.
Really?
And it's a. I don't even remember what time. I think it's around July, and I may be all screwed up on the dates, but Willie Nelson's picnics have been around forever.
So you got to carry a case of beer a mile in the heat in July.
Yeah, and it was full. It had more than a case of beer in it. And we had to keep switching sides because your left arm
would get tired.
And your right arm would get tired. And we probably stopped 100 times. But anyway, that was back when you were young, dumb, and stupid.
I've seen him one time.
He's good. He's a good entertainer.
And your buddy Ron was on stage with him.
Ron,
I was a kid. My dad.
Your dad.
Yeah, they was playing on the back of a flat 18-wheeler trailer. What do you call them things? Just the flat, you know what I'm talking about?
Flatbed.
Just flatbed.
Yeah.
That was the stage. They had 2 of them back to back, and that was their stage.
Well, they used to kind of like the hay rides they had over in Louisiana years ago. That was before my time and your time, and you weren't even thought of.
I bet I was 5 or 6 or 7 years old when Dad played with them.
Yeah,
I mean, that was years and years. I mean,
yeah, he talked about his traveling and playing with all the guys that ended up being somebody as far as country music. But if you ever want to read a good book, read Willie Nelson's biography. Good Lord, they played with everybody, and they'd get in fights and they'd change bands, and and do anything illegal.
I don't
they get away with.
I don't see him as a fighter. Is what's funny.
Oh,
You know, I mean,
I'm talking about verbal.
Oh,
fights,
okay.
not fist fights.
But it's funny, these actors and stuff that are fighters, they weigh $130.
Oh yeah.
Now that I'm going to jiu-jitsu and had my ass whipped by somebody that weighs 130. Maybe some of them are a little tougher than I think, but there's some guys out there I just don't see as fighters. But boy, Willie has played with everybody.
Oh yeah. And he made a song a couple of years ago with George Strait.
I don't remember that.
It's a pretty good song.
Well, he's a terrible singer.
Willie?
Well, yeah, George Strait's not. Willie
No,
is.
Willie's kind of like Christopherson. He kind of grows
Chris
on you.
Christopherson's terrible.
Yeah, he kind of grows on you. Mm-hmm. Christopherson was a heck of a songwriter, and Willie Nelson's written over 700 songs.
Really?
Yeah, he's a great writer.
Yeah.
And he's just not a very good singer, but he is a great a great writer of music. There's no doubt about that. Chris Christopherson is a terrible singer too.
So,
there's two guys right there that if they went on The Voice, they wouldn't even make the final cut.
Kathy and I saw Christopherson at Bass Hall in Fort Worth, and it was he, his guitar, and a stool. And he was a helicopter pilot in Nam, and he got all over George Bush about the way he was running the country. And that kind of turned me off. George Bush was a good guy, still is a good guy, but
Terrible president.
he was not a good president.
No, he's a terrible guy.
But I voted for him twice.
I did too.
Anyway, I heard a little deal yesterday about a DEA agent was talking to something on the radio, Fox News, and I don't even know who was doing the interview, and they said, "What do you think about this deal in Venezuela?" And this ex-DEA agent said, "Well, they finally poked the wrong guy, and he ain't going away. And the United States has needed to do this for 40 years."
The problem is one big branch of the government doesn't want that to happen, and that's the CIA. They get a lot of their black money off of all that stuff, or dark money, whatever you want to call it. They're funded by drugs and everything else. It would scare the amount of money our country comes in, and we're not going to do politics. We're going to talk about dog training and stuff in a minute, but the amount of money that comes in this country, I heard President Trump talk about it between his two terms when Biden was in office. He said there's absolutely no reason people should have to pay taxes in this country. As much money as we have come into this country over different things. And he's trying to transform us into that. Or transition us, I guess is the word.
He got a tough job. He's got half the country that absolutely hates him.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's half. I think it's probably about 30%. I think there's about 20% of people on that side that don't dislike him. That they don't. I think a lot of them are seeing the difference. But we're going to go through a tough time because these people are not going to be eating here for a couple of weeks. And all the Democrats got to do is go in and vote for that clean bought bill that they've done every time, and then people will have their money.
Right.
The Republicans have got to push to people to know that, hey, we're passing the same bill we've pushed 13 times in a row that they've requested that we pass. Now all of a sudden they don't want to do it because they got some leverage and they're using you as the leverage. People, hungry people.
Sure.
But both sides are crooked as hell. There's no doubt about it. And that's his problem is he's battling crooks in D.C. The second time, though, he went and got his own people.
Sure.
He didn't do that before.
He knew how government ran.
Yeah.
That's why he got his own people.
He caught on. Mike Pence backstabbed him the whole time also. And all them people did. Well, now he's got people on his team that are on his team.
Sure.
And I think things will work out. This government shutdown, if it doesn't end this week, it may not end until after Christmas.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, what's the rush if they don't get it done this week?
No, but what I'm saying is why after Christmas?
I just don't see no big hurry. Those politicians are going to go do their vacations in the winter and do all the shit that they do, and they don't give a shit.
And all the congressmen and senators are being paid. I think some of them have stepped up and said, "Don't send me a paycheck."
They shouldn't get paid. None of them. If you're going to shut the government down, first of all, what you should do is you ought to be able to make an executive order that, hey, we're going to pay our military people and we're going to pay our border control.
I thought they were.
No.
I thought
the Democrats
they were
voted against
military.
Private donors.
Oh.
Now, listen to this. The Democrats are trying to fight that and said that's against the law to earmark money for the military. You can't do that as a private citizen.
Wow.
But they're against anything, and I don't like Republicans no more than anybody else does. But there is nothing more evil than a Democrat, and that whole party has been hijacked by these socialists. And I think the GOP wants Mandini to become mayor of New York City just because they can show people in 6 months how bad New York City is. This is what your country's going to look like with a Democrat in charge.
Right. Honestly, I agree.
Does your daughter lives in New York City? Do they love on Mandini? Because they're big liberals.
She does.
Ain't that just amazing?
And we, I made a vow to her that I wouldn't say anything about politics anymore, because if I did, we wouldn't have a relationship. And she's worried about, and she's privileged. She and her husband have done extremely well.
They have white privilege, right?
Right. And they're in the movie business, and they live a different lifestyle than we do. And she says that she's privileged, but it kills her to pay $8 or $9, $10 for a gallon of milk. Well, give up some of your money and help those people that you're trying to get this Democratic Socialist to help, because that's what he is.
Well, you could also say there's 2 big buildings in New York City that are no longer there because of people like him.
Right.
With the help of our CIA.
Yeah.
Well,
But anyway, she's
Yeah, they have a short memory over there, don't they?
yeah.
she's a good mom. She was a good kid. She wasn't raised that way. She's just learned it since she's lived in New York City since she was 17 years old.
But her husband's family's a lot like you, thoughts, aren't they?
I can't figure Anthony out. I don't. If the truth be known, I bet Anthony doesn't even vote because he's always rolling.
No, his mom and dad.
Oh, his mom and dad are real red.
That's what I'm saying. They're very conservative people.
They're Greek immigrants, and they came over
The legal way.
and then the illegals and the Chinese and the whatever ran them out of business because they were in the jewelry business, and they did everything cheaper, so they got out of it. They couldn't make a living.
But they live in Long Island, right?
Yes. Though the dad's dead, the mama's still alive, but she's a hoot boy. She loved George Bush, and her whole family's Republican, but most of them have moved to Florida.
You've gone to New York City a bunch. You got a daughter that lives there. A bunch.
Ton of time.
Have you? My last 2 times in New York City, I noticed a big change. Like the first time I went to New York City, how were you in college when we went to New York City the first time, or was you in high
can't
school?
remember. I don't think I was in high school.
Okay, you was in college then. We all went as a family.
Most likely.
And it was basically the same as when you watch TV. If you watch an old show in New York City in the 70s, everybody looks about the same on the streets. There's white people, there's black people, but it's a work and hustle bustle type stuff. The last couple times I went, it was halal chicken everywhere, and the Muslims, and they had taken over the whole place.
I didn't notice that.
I did the big time the second time we went.
Well,
Were we not there? Because I didn't notice it. The time we went to upstate New York, we had a layover in New York City.
But
we went into New York City to show the kids everything. And I didn't notice any difference. But we weren't there very long either.
We only went to 2 things though. But my time there for 3 or 4 days at a time, I've noticed a big change on the streets compared to what it was like 10 years ago, and damn sure a lot different than it was 30 years ago.
Kathy and I have been married 40 years, and Brandy's 50. She's been up there 33 years, and we've probably been to New York 20 times, maybe 22 times. Hadn't been in 4 or 5 years. We met a cruise line up there with a bunch of friends, and it's those people in New York City have gotten a bad rap over the years. They fall out of those buildings in the morning with a backpack. They're not rude. They're going to the subway or they're going to a job. Get out of my way because I got to be at a certain place at a certain time, and everybody picks their coffee up at Starbucks. They call it in or use their cell phone or whatever. And it's from now. My son Rick's been up there in the last 2 or 3 years, and he said not as many people, not as much going on at nighttime. But you pick your places where you go, and there's still places that are pretty rough. But used to be the greatest city in the world. Who knows what's going to happen if this guy gets elected?
It's going to be about like London is right now, where there's going to be certain areas that you can't go.
Yeah.
I mean, he's radically wanting to transition this country or that city. I mean, he's wanting to do rent control,
free subway, free buses,
free every.
But isn't it
thing.
already kind of that way? Like, don't people just hop the turnstile, and if you're paying, you're kind of a dumbass?
You wouldn't jump.
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't. But I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty sure it's probably already free.
Yeah, well, a bunch of them squeeze through it or jump over it, and they don't prosecute them. They can't. There's so many of them that do it. They can't chase them down.
Yeah, there's a lot of free people there, but it's not free. But it's going to be free all the time. Free everything, but
Free child care.
just like Riley was in here the other day.
But now-
someone's got to pay for that.
I understand, but does New York have a similar system to like the U.S. where Trump is saying we make enough money, there's no sense in us having to pay taxes? Does New York have a similar system where like, listen, we got enough money that we can operate the subway and buses for
they can't
no
do
money?
that.
They're so far in the hole, and
New
Trump-
York is?
Just like
it's
LA.
terrible. And Trump has said, don't come to the United States government, and the Secretary of Treasury said, don't come to the government for a bailout because we ain't giving it to you.
And I agree with that. If you want to do this, you shouldn't be able to get bailed out when it goes south.
The problem is you don't vet your voters. And these voters are 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, and there's millions of them there. And all they're saying is, hell yeah, it's free. One of the big thing is, too, we want to make everything a misdemeanor under $1,000 of theft and no bail.
Yeah.
So you're just going to steal all the time. They're not going to do nothing to you. You go in and steal. That's $780. I can steal it. Well, same thing's going to happen to them that happened in Ferguson, Missouri and shit. Those businesses all left those places because they didn't want their shit burned up and they don't want it stolen. I guess the Magnificent Mile in Chicago, 30% of all the stores there are empty now.
Well, if they want to pay for that, but by taxing the rich, and all the rich people are going to leave, get out of New York.
Tiffany's in New York City will not be Tiffany's in New York City in 10 years. If this goes through, they will leave and they will move their place somewhere
New York
else.
City is projecting a surplus of $2.3 billion in 2026.
From what?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what it reads.
Well, that won't happen very long.
No. Let's.
Their budget is going to go. They're going to lose a lot of their big people because a lot of their a lot of the big headquartered stuff is already leaving there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
some of your brokerage firms have already left. They're building stuff in Florida. The stock market won't be the same.
they're wanting to put the stock market in Dallas.
Yeah. Schwab is building a big campus in it's either Allen or Plano or something. It's going to be fully finished by 27 or 28. But
They got to get some kind of securities license. I was reading the other day to do it, but they're wanting to move their shit over.
I
All
think
right.
New York City is the greatest city. It was. We honeymooned there. That was where we went.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I agree with you.
I love New
It's the
York
coolest
City.
city in America.
10 years ago, if I had all the money in the world, I'd have had an apartment in New York City.
my son-in-law and daughter they live in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and they started a house. They bought a brownstone, which is an old home. It's about the lot's 120 feet deep, and it's probably 20 or 25 feet wide. They just finished a 6-story house in Brooklyn, and Anthony was the subcontractor, and they started back in COVID, and this happened and that happened, and getting the permits from the city of New York and Brooklyn and all that stuff, and they finally got into it, and they were going to put an elevator in it, but that got nicked. So can you imagine walking up 5 sets of stairs?
What it's just going to be 2 of them at home in 3 or 4 years, isn't it?
Well, they've got Amelia, who is 17. She'll be a senior next year. And then Cosmo's 13. He's the only boy.
Okay, so Cosmo is 13. That's the youngest one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, in 6 years they have no kids left, and they're gonna have a 6-story house.
5 years.
Hell, screw that.
So
But now I'm reading here, and it says in 2024. No, that's the state. Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
let's quit talking about politics.
Well, no, I was going to say one more thing about New York City, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I think it's the greatest city on earth, or was for sure for a while.
It ain't what you know, it's who you know. And Anthony grew up in Long Island, and he cut his eye teeth waiting tables and stuff, wanted to be an actor like everybody else. And somebody told him, said, why don't you get in production? And he's a producer. And he's made a ton of money, and he knows everybody because he lived in New York City or Manhattan working the movie deal for 15 years before he got into production.
What's cool about New York City is everything's based around being in the city. It's kind of the hub of stuff.
Sure.
Boston's a lot like that, but there's not a lot of towns like that anymore. I mean, whoever talks about going to Baltimore and just hanging out?
Right. That was what was funny. So like we would hit Times Square or whatever, and like you said, everybody's got on suits and dressed to
Backpacks.
go to work, backpacks and tennis shoes,
And they're going.
and they're going to work. And when they get to work, they switch out their tennis shoes for dress shoes.
Yep.
Yep.
Women for heels or whatever. So that was it's just a whole vibe there. If you've never been, I feel sorry for you.
That's why the subway's so workable there, and you know there's no you can't get enough. I mean, you can't get any cars in there because it's stacked on top of each other.
It's a unique place. And
Sure.
The only, like I said, the only place that I know of that is close is Boston with the Commons and stuff, and they're whole completely different type towns. They both hate each other because of baseball, but those are two of the coolest towns I've been to.
Yeah.
Seattle's downtown area around that Pikes Market's really a pretty cool place. L.A. There's nothing in L.A. that I would like to see.
Did you see that game last night? Went 18 innings.
Who won?
Dodgers.
Dodgers did.
Yeah.
The Chinese, not Chinese. The Japanese guy hit a home run, didn't he?
Yakasaka Yamoto or whatever his name is. That kid's a stud. He might be the greatest baseball player ever. And I don't watch baseball. I have not watched a game this year. And so I guess Dodgers are up 3-0.
No,
2-1. 2-1.
Oh, Toronto had won a game?
Yeah, they won. They split in Toronto. I saw where the Chiefs just put it on the Commodores.
Yep.
With backup quarterback. It was a pretty close game until the third or fourth quarter.
Well,
Washington's defense is not very good right now.
Well, they got a lot of
injuries.
people hurt.
Yeah, and Kansas City's getting healthy. I still don't. Buffalo Kansas City game should be a pretty telling game if Kansas City is really back. Kansas City's playing good. They got a lot of teams. You know, I mean, they got a lot of their teams back. I right now though is how good's Indianapolis?
They're the best in the AFC.
They've scored 61% of the time they've touched the ball. They've scored. They said a good season is if you score the ball 50%.
New England's pretty good too.
They have
New
a really
England's
good football
good.
team too.
Yeah.
I think the Super Bowl is going to be two teams we do not have a clue. I mean, like I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle or Tampa Bay gets hot and gets in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is going to be the team you're going to have to beat.
Right.
And same as Kansas City. Philadelphia, Kansas City, you're both going to have to beat them to get in. They both. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a rematch of last year's Super Bowl.
This tush push has got to go away.
That was a fumble the other day, and they didn't call it. That was bullshit.
His forward progress is always stopped.
Yeah.
Every time they do the tush push, there's at some point his forward progress is stopped, and then they just muscle it to get that yard that they need, and then the defense finally gets to stop on this tush push and gets a fumble, and it's no forward progress, and his offensive line gets a head start every time.
Sure.
So
All they got to do is
They got an advantage.
Yes.
Well, no. They have the same event. Every team can run that play. Sure. Every team can run the ball. So it's
but
not
they're
like
not officiating it right.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I think the other day when that guy fumbled, I think that was the end of the tush push. I think next year when they put it at the rules committee, it's over. But every team can run it. Every single team can. They're just good at it. But they should call offsides. If you jump offsides, they should call offsides. If the guy is still moving the ball and he puts the ball out there and someone snatches it from him, it should be a fumble.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like going across once you break the plane of the end zone and it's a touchdown. That was a blatant fumble.
Yes.
That was a shitty call, and they should have overturned it.
And I don't know how many times they're going to get away with false start and then get that first down that they need. And my son's an Eagles fan, but it's just like, come on.
No, I think that game was the last. I think this will be the last year of the tush push. But every team can do it. Nobody can do it. I saw Dak try to run it the other day. He was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Looked like a flamingo flopping around out there.
Let's talk about something we did this morning. It was real cool.
You just got a hard on to talk about dogs today, don't you?
Well,
You got the old man over your shoulder right there.
Thunder's here back again this year, and he's second year. Lou's been gone, and Thunder's pretty well known. He's hunted with Blake. He's hunted with Zach. He's hunted with Andy. He's hunted with various other guides, and I love for him to be up here because it gives me an excuse to come up here 4 or 5 times to check on him. So Thunder is back in the fold for this season, and Roy is the up-and-coming stud that probably will that's Andy's new dog that probably will be introduced at some point later on this season to see how the action goes. But we did something this morning that the old man taught me a long time ago, and he sent me to a Army surplus store, and I had a handheld launcher, dummy launcher, and he said, get you an old stock, military stock, and a roll of duct tape. Take that dummy launcher and put the handle inside of it and tape it with duct tape, and you can throw it up against your shoulder and shoot that dummy, and the dog sees the gun or the simulation of a gun. And Roy did that this morning about 4 or 5 times, and instead of shooting it at an angle up in the air, we shot it 15 or 20 feet off the ground with the lowest projectile or the lowest powerful cap, and it would bounce on the ground and bounce up. And I think he did it 4 or 5 times, and he was on it.
He was.
And That's really, really good for a young dog. And then the old man heard all the action, and he had to get out. We had to shoot 2 or 3 for him so he could show the kid that he still had it.
Well, and I've never done anything where Roy had to honor, so that I think that was good too.
Yeah.
Because Lou was bad about whining, and I am hell-bent on my next dog not doing that.
How are you going to break that?
I don't know, but I'm just...
You're hell-bent on not happening.
Well, no, I know when it happened with Lou. There were a couple instances. So we went through kind of a little lull in training where he didn't have a whole lot of excitement and kind of dicked around. So to generate excitement, I generated a lot of excitement for him.
Sure.
And then whenever he started whining, I kind of reinforced that behavior because, okay, good, he's excited again. So I didn't squash it right there because I was afraid if I leaned on him then, he would go back to not being very excited to do what he needed to do. And I think that fostered that behavior. And then Dane, who used to work for us a long time ago, he had a dog out here, Bear, and Bear would whine. And they hunted together a couple of times, and I think they communicated. And I think those instances right there just kind of made it okay for Lou to whine. So
Well,
anytime I heard a peep out of Roy today,
you bumped him.
shut the fuck up.
Well, the thing about honoring, it's when you're training one dog, you got to have somebody here with another dog.
Mm-hmm.
And a trainer, professional trainer, he's got that luxury of having multiple dogs.
Right.
And it's easier to teach a dog to honor.
Yeah.
Had the same thing with Thunder, but now you put a collar on, and a collar's not a. You hear these people say, "Oh, you're hurting them by." You're not hurting them anything. It's like pinching their neck.
Yeah.
You're just bumping them, and you can put a collar on Thunder and probably any other trained dog. He didn't know if that thing's hot or cold.
Right.
And he's a totally different dog.
Yeah.
But today was a lot of fun. I hadn't done that in a long time, and Ron Stanfield and I did that. Thunder will be 11, December the 8th. So, gosh, I hadn't done that in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But Andy's got a up on everybody. He's got Reese that's 11, and Reese can shoot the dummy or
Be a little Jeff out there.
be a little Jeff out
He'll
there.
never like dogs his whole life then.
But anyway, it's kind of rewarding to see a young dog that's 7 months old just blow a hole in the wind and so full of vinegar and so full of piss and just run past Andy by 15 or 20 feet and make a big circle and come back and suck up to his left side. It's there's only one thing prettier, and that's in a duck blind.
Yeah.
When you got mallards or whatever, and when them feet go down and they throw them wings back, they just committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the prettiest thing. I don't care what you hunt. If you've never had that experience. Now, Andy and I had an experience with an old buddy of mine this year that was turkey hunting. He shot one time,
Uh-huh.
and they lined up perfect and killed all 3 of them in one shot. And everybody was in shock.
He's going to jail now, Steve. Way to go.
Anyway, we were legal on that deal.
You never turkey hunted that way before?
No, I hunted well last year. We got rained out.
We never we've never had them
come in
like that.
No.
So that wasn't what you were expecting?
No, I had no idea because we never
Saw it?
I never saw it. We heard turkeys, but both times the previous 2 years we got out there and got flooded.
Yeah.
And like to drown before we got back to the truck.
Yeah.
And Dickie's 83 years old, and you think that ain't a bitch trying to get him back to the truck. And I'm in bad shape, but health wise. But Dickie's he's a trooper. He's slow. It's kind of like Ron said. I might be slow, but I'm ahead of you.
And I'm steady.
But no, that turkey hunting was that would have been a perfect one to have on film.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
You'll probably never see that again, and I know I won't.
No, they just came in single file pretty much and came to the decoys.
Are
and
you gonna hunt?
spanned out?
Are you gonna hunt Roy into this year? You think?
So he's definitely going to need to go. He's going to need to get on the table. He's dropping it at my feet, which there's worse places he can drop it. I can correct that. He's
Talking about force fetch.
Yes, he's going to need to get on the table, and like I said, I can iron out the dropping it at my feet and all that stuff. I'm just proud that he brought it to me, healed it. You know, the hand delivery stuff, I'll work on that.
Well, Ron, I never was around Ron when he force fetched Thunder. The only thing that he did force fetching wise was out here in the parking lot, and he put the string or the fishing line or whatever you want to call it on his right foot, and he'd send him 10 or 15 feet out behind the truck. And when he got there, he kind of screwed around and looked around, and he put a little pressure on it, and buddy, I'm telling you, that gets their attention and they come back. But I never saw him working on the table. I've seen videos of it, but a lot of people use.
You can use your collar now.
Yeah, you can use collars, or you can use
Ear pinch.
Yeah, ear pinch. A lot of people do that. A lot of people think it's really cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt very long. I don't want a string around my little toe though.
You're just teaching them to respond to pressure.
Sure.
Hold it when when there's pressure, you're gonna hold it, and then you're gonna hold it until I'm ready for you. The thing about the way we hunt is it's
different.
Organized chaos. I mean,
Yes.
It's one thing. Roy's 7 months. So in January, he'll be 10-ish months. That's at the end of January because he was born March 23rd. So he's just now 7 months. There's a lot of ground that we got to cover. But if I could get a small group of guys and kind of the right conditions, I'm not going to take him out there with fucking 12 people.
No.
And all that shit. But if I can get a small group and kind of organize, it's one thing to get a young pup and you and your son go out to your favorite pond and duck hunt and your boy shoots and you control the dog. But when you got a lot of commotion going on and it's big flocks and I mean, shooting into small duck flocks is one, but shooting into 1,000 speckle bellies coming in, that's a lot for a pup.
Well, you're going to agree with me when I make this statement. The way you used to hunt out here, before you used A-frames, Raven, who was Thunder's daddy, who Ron trained. Mother, excuse me. Hank was the daddy. And Thunder, when you first hunted out here, you dug holes.
Yep.
And you got in under the plywood, covered up with stubble. And Thunder and his mother, Raven, would come in the hole and flip around and look out the end of the hole between your feet.
Right.
Well, they weren't able to react as quick now when you're hunting in A-frames and the dog's sitting up on level ground behind some stubble or whatever. It's that's where the chaos comes in. When you were hunting under boards, it was a slower paced chaos.
Right.
Especially when we hunted Lou and Thunder together a bunch and it was very competitive. But they got along fine. But when you hunted under the board, it was a lot slower pace because it took them longer to get out up in the decoys where they saw birds fall, but they couldn't see them hit the ground because they were looking skyward.
Right.
So,
and another thing I'm going to have to do, I mean, it's just, you got to introduce your dog. you got to give them the best position to succeed. And another thing that's different for a young dog is seeing 50 dozen decoys out there.
Sure.
What the hell is this? You know what I mean? So at some point, I'm going to need to set up a couple dozen decoys and get them used to running through that. And I mean, it's just, you forget about that, a lot of that stuff.
Same way with hunting water with decoys.
When you get a pup, you just kind of, you don't think that through a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like now, we're at a hunt season. I'm like, I got to introduce this dog to a lot of shit.
Yeah. Well, Jeff's daddy, or Mr. Stanfield, used to tell the story about
Mr. Stanfield.
Mr. Stanfield. Anyway, Ron used to tell the story about one of his dogs. I don't remember. I've heard the story 100 times. But they'd hunt up at Arrowhead or wherever.
Now you're naming places, Steve.
And
Everybody that hunts Lake Arrowhead's going to be pissed off at you now.
Anyway, when they got through with duck hunting, the dog would go pick all the decoys up.
It was Hacksaw.
He said he'd pick up 40 ducks and he had 40 decoys he had to go pick up.
Yeah, Hacksaw would do that. He would retrieve them all the time.
He said after the hunt he was tired.
We would I would take him and go hunting. We would go sometimes without Dad, and I'd put a blanket in the back seat of my old junky ass car I had, and take a bag of decoys and go shooting. Me and three of my buddies would go hunt, and the dog, we wouldn't even take waders. Now we would hunt ponds and stuff with him too, but he would retrieve all the decoys.
Huh? That's neat.
And we did put out some big spreads when we hunted on Arrowhead and Lake Wichita back in the day. We would put out 26 floaters and probably about 60 ducks was probably what we would put out. But when we now the dog wasn't picking up that because we was in a boat.
Well, no, there was one time that Ron said Hacksaw quit going for Tony.
Yeah, because he retrieved all the ducks and the.
So Tony put out too many.
Yeah, but I was always a dozen decoys. If you're hunting a pond, a dozen decoys will work perfect. You don't need to hunt.
I remember that story. Tony called Ron and said, or Ron called Tony and said, "How'd y'all do?" And he said, "We killed our limit." And he said, "Got a problem, old Dad." He said, "Hacksaw wouldn't go get 6 of the decoys."
Yeah, decoys out there still.
Yeah,
Hacksaw just laid down.
Yeah, he retrieved
retired.
40 ducks and he was beat. You know how many decoys me and Fisher put out Saturday when we hunted?
He said you put out 3 decoys and 2 spinners.
Yep. Did he tell you how bad he shot?
No.
Oh,
No.
when you said that story about them birds committing suicide, not Fisher shooting or not.
Well, I was going to say that's a good opportunity for Fisher, and most people will meet Fisher when he comes up here. He's a good kid from Fort Worth, Texas. He's got a new dog named Nova. I think that's 9 months old, and he's a Roy's thin and tall and 100% puppy, and Nova's a little bit chunkier or squattier than Roy is. But
You're talking shit about someone else's dog.
I'm not talking shit about anybody's
I'm
dog.
getting out of this, aren't you, Andy?
No,
Roy's going to be lanky.
yeah, he told me last night that Nova was real timid.
Yeah.
And he said I don't know where that came from. That's just a difference in dogs.
Male and female, maybe.
Maybe, and he'll get used to it. He said he loves to pick up dove, and we talked last night about getting dogs birdie, and old man and I got thunder birdie with pigeons. And I don't know what you're going to do as far as.
Just depends on
Didn't
if we
he
hit
retrieve some
a
dove?
wall. Yes.
So I was thinking.
But we had already killed the dove.
Right.
So it's a similar situation to what we did today. I had Jesse had the dove and Reese was shooting off. Reese would shoot, Jesse would throw the dove up high and flutter down. It was already dead, of course.
Right.
So he saw that. But shit, once he got those feathers in his mouth and tasted that blood, you thought he was fast today.
Well, how does a dead dove flutter down?
It just kind of catches the wind. You got to throw it just right. I told her how to throw it.
I'm going to tell you right now, Reese is the best shot in that family.
Well, I understand. Somebody told me that when we were out here in dove season.
Would be hell to come today with this wind. We got about 35, 40 mile an hour north wind. It's actually cool today. This is the first north wind we had that you can feel a little of crispness.
I was a little bit worried about this morning because the wind is so bad, and I never have trained in situations like this. I've only trained out here a handful of times, and there's just shit blowing around, and the grass is blowing, and I was kind of worried that something would catch his young puppy eye and we'd be screwed off in Idiot Flats.
Yeah, like I told you before, just you need to start taking him different places and he'll remember all those places when you go back to them.
Yeah.
Their memory's so good. Anyway,
this is the furthest he's had to run though, because up until now it's just been as far as my arm can go. Right. So today was good to extend his range a little bit.
Sure.
And we'll make it more difficult. Like you said, we'll start shooting it in the grass and make him use his nose a little bit.
Yeah, but Ron and I used pigeons on Thunder, and when he saw the first pigeon after trimming the wing, and he was alive, and he hit the ground and kept jumping up, the game was on, buddy, and it's been on ever since then.
Well, where do you get a pigeon at? You asked if I was going to use pigeons.
You
go to PetSmart? Get
no,
a fucking pigeon?
No, you probably can get pigeons at a feed store. Maybe in Abilene or in there may be is there a feed store in Haskell?
Yeah.
Just call them, and a lot of those people sell pigeons.
Ron just really screwed us by dying is what I'm coming to figure out.
He called me. I called him when Thunder was a year old, and I said, he's not birdie. And he said, is there a feed store around? I said, yeah, there's one in Kennedale. And he said, well, go by and get 10 pigeons if they got them. And I got 10 pigeons and put them in a dog crate.
Now, here's the second question. Where the fuck am I going to keep pigeons?
You put them in a dog crate, give them water.
That's what you need.
Now I got to keep 10 pigeons alive.
No, put them back in the pheasant pen.
Yeah, put them in
and then I got to go catch them.
Well, put them in a dog crate, because if you get 5 of them. And Ron wouldn't let me throw them away. They were almost slick after he got through with them. And he'd say, as long as I got feathers on them, don't throw them away. We'll use them. I put them in the freezer. And I said, I'm throwing them away. I'll just bring some more the next time I come.
You know, he had an old rule too. If when he trained with pigeons, he's trained with pigeons all the time. He had a pigeon coop and probably 50 birds. And if you made it through your second trip,
he wouldn't use you anymore.
you got retired. You got free from death row. So if you could handle 2 trips of being trained, you got. Can you imagine the non-hunter listening to this right now?
God.
I mean, you think about that right now. You are killing a pigeon by letting a dog retrieve it. They would have a shit fit.
One of the funniest stories I heard that Ron told. He was a fireman, and he needed some pigeons, and he had 2 big old cane poles with a net on the end of them.
I remember this.
And he would go out to the intersections where I-20 and everything crossed over and this kind of stuff. And he said he was scooping at pigeons, and it was right at dark. And he said all of a sudden 3 or 4 cop cars pulled up with their lights on, and they said, "Hey, whatever. It's Ron Stanfield out there catching pigeons. It's not a crisis." But he said it was funny when they pulled up on him. He said, "Everybody knew I caught pigeons under I-20, except most of the cops."
We used to go to this old radio building downtown Wichita Falls, and they had an old, I don't know, it's some kind of old abandoned building on top, or just a little structure. I don't know if it was the elevator shaft where it went to the very. I don't know what it was, but anyways, there was an old building up there, and the windows had knocked out of it, and you could tell, it was something in the 30s and 40s was probably an immaculate building the whole way, and it was still a nice building. Had the old elevator where you used to. Do you remember that kind? I don't know what you would call that, but
you kind of lock the screen on it.
You have a lever on it. And you could go up and you could free fall that son of a bitch. I think it's like a 6-story building. Dude, I'm telling you right now, on the way down, you could fucking get some time going. But anyways, we'd go to the top of that and we'd catch pigeons. With Dad would have a trap set up in there and he'd get pigeons out all over. Here we are walking out of the fucking radio building with a bird crate and a bunch of fucking birds. All these people wearing suits and shit, and Dad just walking right through them.
Anyway.
No couth at all. But anyways,
hell of a guy.
He's that pinning him right behind you right now. He's sitting there laughing his ass off. I just can't decide when you get to heaven if you have a portal into what's going on down here still.
No, we've talked about, Katie and I go to a Bible study, and that subject has been talked about for some reason 2 or 3 times in the last 6 or 8 weeks. And somebody mentioned one day in Bible study about, I'm gonna sit up here and I'm gonna be in heaven and I can look down and check on my buds and my family and all that. And guy said, nope. It's so pristine. You got everything. You're sitting up there and you're just waiting on everybody else to come see you. Everything's perfect. You forget about that stuff downstairs.
You've heard about the clock to heaven. There's so many times a day, like Dad died. So let's say in 40 years I'm gone. I don't think I'll live 40 years, but let's just say I do. We've got longevity in my family.
Just being optimistic.
Yeah, but they say that's like Dad sitting down for 5 minutes having a cup of coffee and I walk through the door. The time is so different up there, so I don't know. I do have longevity in my family. I had 2 grandparents live to be 98, 99, the other's 93. I got a lot of longevity in my family. Doesn't mean that I'll see that, but I don't know that I want to live 40 more years, because my grandfather told me he died at 99 and 10 months.
Yep.
And first thing he told me, I laugh about this, is he was probably about 96 or 97. His leg was bothering him. He told me on the phone, boy, my leg's bother me. It just hurts, blah, blah, this. So I told him, I said, so I called him back like a week later and I said, what'd the doctor tell you about your leg? He goes, what doctor? I said, you said your leg. He goes, I ain't going to the doctor about my leg. I said, well, you said it's bothering you. He goes, I'm 97 years old, Jeff. Or Pasquale, he called me Pasquale. I'm 97 years old, Pasquale. He said, do you really, really think there's something wrong with my leg? He said, I ain't supposed to live this long. The damn thing's wore out. and he was right.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to go have surgery on it or get a knee replaced at 97. But he lived, and he told me one time, he said, Jeff, he said, I don't like living this long. Then he wanted to see 100. From about when my grandma died at 93, 94, he didn't have a will to live for a while. Then he got it again. Then he went to see 100. And he was 2 months away from 100. But he told me, he said, just all my friends, most of them have been dead 40 years.
I got a friend right now that's out of the same business I am. And he told me last week, he said, hell, I'm 84 and all my friends are dead. He said, I ain't got anybody to go see. He said, you're 75. And he said, I consider you a friend, and we've been a friend a long time. But he said, my memory's kind of going. He said, if you leave a message, he said, I'll look at it and say, did I call him back, or do I need to recall him? But, that's part of, Katie and I talk about that all the time. My mom and daddy both died at 86, and that's the benchmark. I mean, what else do you go by?
Yeah.
how long are you going to live? Well, I don't know how long I'm going to live, but my parents both lived to be 86. I think if I make it 86, it's been a good life.
So that's 11 more years?
Yeah. Well, that 10 and a half, and it's been a good life.
So you will get another dog after Thunder?
If Thunder lives to be 13 or 14 like his mama, I ain't having no, I'm done with dogs.
I thought you said if something happened to Kathy, you're going to move up here. How am I going to use you as a guide if you ain't got no fucking dog?
I did. West Texas is everybody talks about the perfect place to live. Rattlesnakes, tumbleweed, and mesquite trees don't get no better than that as far as Steve Barber's talking
You would
about.
live in Knox City if Kathy would let you.
No, well, but I got to live close to a doctor.
We got doctors in town.
Well, I'm talking
Well, you
about.
go to a fucking doctor every day, so
I'm
yes.
talking about specialists. And that's one thing that everybody my age looks at when they move.
Where the doctors are?
They move close to a hospital.
That's why the Rio Grande Valley grew for so long. All them people would go down there because they had to get hospitals and stuff.
Could you imagine? We tried to live in Bryan College Station, and I wanted to live in a Caldwell, which is probably it's 55 miles from Bryan or 65 miles. If I had a real emergency, I'd probably never make it. But
How far is the hospital from your house?
Probably 20 minutes.
You can't even go on vacation without having a heart attack these days.
Well,
You had one on a cruise.
Yeah.
Had one on an airplane.
Well, I basically had one out here last December.
Okay, you can't go to the Big Honker Lodge.
And I went back to Abilene and was in the hospital and had a cath while I was there. And then Kathy and I had been to Portland, and I got back and I got in an Uber, and I hurt as bad as I ever hurt, and it was a 42-minute ride home. And Kathy went to the doctor the next morning, and she told her doctor, her internal or whatever you call the doctor that you go to for
Internal medicine.
Yeah, internal medicine. Anyway, she said, tell your husband if that happens again, he's playing Russian roulette because he doesn't know if it's the big one. And call 911 because they can get you quicker to the hospital. The ambulance can, and they've got somebody to help you if you need help. So I made a vow that I wouldn't do that anymore. Those chest pains are not pleasant. So everybody says a heart attack. I'm still alive, so I don't know if it was or not.
Danny Houghton finally got over the hump. He finally came back out here.
It took him
12 years?
12 years or something.
Yeah,
like
I didn't
that.
want to go through
Years or
that
something
again.
like that. You know, he had been on his regular doctor to do a stress test. I didn't realize that.
Before he had that heart attack?
He said March of that year that he had his heart attack, he told his doctor, he said, hey, listen, when I'm working out, if I get my heart rate up to about 150, I feel like I'm fucking dying.
Yeah.
And his doctor said, don't get your heart rate up to 150. Like, why you got to do that for? So he's like, no, he's like, something's going on. He's like, just, could we do a stress test? He said, Danny, you're 45 years old. He's like, you work out all the time. Like, you're fine. Like, you're okay. Just don't get your heart rate up that high. Finally, the week before he came out here, his doctor ordered a stress test. He's doing the stress test. It's taken a while. I've never done a stress test, so I don't know. But he said it's taken a while to get his heart rate up. So the doctor makes it a little bit harder. And he's like, you're in great shape. Like, it's taking you forever to get your heart rate up. So finally at 1:30, doctor pulled the plug. Like, you're fine. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Week later,
Heart
You know,
attack.
the big kablooey.
we talked about that this time because he always brings it up.
Right.
And I told Danny, I love Danny to death. I was like,
Good guy.
we didn't save your life.
Oh, he thinks Jeff did.
Well, how would he have gotten to the hospital if you didn't run him to the hospital?
So other people can drive.
But you were the mayor.
Well,
He stopped traffic.
He stopped traffic in Knox City, Texas.
Oh, boy.
4 cars.
2 intersections.
Block the four-way. I'm coming in hot. Did you block the intersection?
Yes, I had called ahead. And I had him at the back door of the hospital, the doors open, waiting on him. I mean, but here's the thing is that's not what saved his life. If I did anything to save his life, it's because I made him go to the fucking ER.
Because he
I told
wasn't
him-
going to go. He was going to stay out here and
I
die.
said, Danny, I dialed 911, and all I had to do is push the next one. I said, the ambulance is either coming here or your little ass is going to go. And I said, and Mark Richmond, I said, we'll grab your ass and hold you in the back seat, but something's wrong. And
what did he look? Was he like
he was
sweating and everything?
He was bending over holding his gut. It wasn't like up here.
He wasn't holding his left arm or anything?
Here. No, it was down here. And he was just balled up. I mean, then he blamed it on eating the Diablo burger at that place we used to have or whatever. He ate one of them with all the hot, spicy. Remember that hot burger? I just got bad indigestion. And then he couldn't get up. And then he came in my office and like, Jeff, make him go to the emergency room. So I tried to tell him, well, he goes, I'm just going to go lay down. I'm going to be better. So he went and laid down, and then Mark went over there. Mark said, Jeff, I'm telling you right now, if Mark Richmond would not have come over and got me and we would have went and got him, he would have died in that room. Yeah. Room 9 would be the Houghton suite now because that's where he would have died at. But I called ahead. I drove fast. I drove as fast as I could go. I called. I said, make sure you block down both intersections. I'm coming in with cardiac, and he's going to be full cardiac arrest, I'm afraid. And they blocked both intersections off with the hospital. They come out, and they got him, and he started feeling better. So I had to get mocked by the nurse up there. You called in a cardiac, and he's not even at, and he was acting, I think I'm better now. I told you it's just indigestion.
Oh, shit.
I came back to the lodge thinking everything's okay.
After getting ridiculed.
Yeah. The police chief calls me. He said, boy, your buddy's lucky Logan Morrow saved his life. Logan's guy does jiu-jitsu and stuff. He fucking died in that hospital room, and Logan jumped on him and did CPR, and they got him back, and they put him in a helicopter, and they flew him to Wichita. So Logan saved his life. I didn't.
Was he bitching the whole way to town?
Just like your mom does at me about Christmas decorations.
He was?
The whole way.
The whole way? I'm fine. I'm fine.
But it's nothing but deal. You got insurance. What the hell's your problem anyways?
Well, when I had the dealing, I was going to Sweetwater to turn over a couple of accounts to another rep. And I got there late, and my chest was hurting, and I stopped and got a Whataburger. That's good for your heart.
Yeah, it's great.
And I got checked in, and I called Kathy, and she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Boy, my chest hurts." And she said, go to the emergency room. And my buddy had told me they'll send you to Abilene because they don't have that kind of health care in Sweetwater. I said, well, if I can get comfortable and go to sleep, I'll be fine. Well, I got comfortable, went to sleep, and woke up about 6 o'clock the next morning, still hurting. And I waited, talked to Kathy again. I talked to the guy that was on the way out here to meet me at the customer. I said, I'm not going to make it. At 8 o'clock, I called the cardiologist's office and said, get your ass to the hospital. So I got in my little old truck and set it on 100 and got in the left lane with my flashers going. I drove to Abilene, and I drove up in the entrance to the emergency room. I got out, left my door open, left the keys in it, walked in. They said, what's up? And I said, heart problems, buddy. It was like you hit the go button.
Really?
And they had me in there, and we're taking pictures and blood pressures, and the guy came in and said, you're having a heart attack right now. He said, your blood enzymes are higher than I've ever seen. I said, I feel fine. He said, I'm going to do a cath on you. He gave me 3 big aspirin, 350 milligrams, took them. He said, I'm going to do a cath on you after lunch. Did it. I woke up, and I said, what's up? I didn't remember talking to him, and I told the nurse I didn't talk to him. She said, yeah, you did. He'll be back. And he came back about 30 minutes later, and he said, I think the aspirin did the trick. You're fine. They're gone. I said, what happened to him? And he said, your system absorbed them. Now, if you want to go home, you go home. And I said, no, my wife and daughter and son are on the way up here.
What do you mean your system absorbed it?
Your system will take care of that stuff. It blew it through where it didn't need it.
The clot.
The clot.
Okay.
And he said, it's in your system, and your system will dissolve it and take care of it.
No shit.
Yeah. And he said, you want to drive home? I said, it's 6 hours, and I'm not driving home. I'm going to spend the night. And about 2:30 or 3 that afternoon, Rick and Michelle and Kathy got there, and Kathy had never driven my pickup. Well, she drove it the next day. She didn't like it, but she drove halfway home, and then I drove the rest of the way home. But it's kind of scary.
Who parked your truck?
One of the attendants did, and he brought me the keys.
Oh.
Had shotguns, had pistols, had all kinds of stuff in it. Somebody could have walked off with a bunch of stuff. Let's talk about something pleasant.
But no, hold on. Everybody just scrambles as soon as you say that magic word.
When you say heart, everybody gets out of the way, and you get top priority. If you go to Parkland Hospital and you walk in and say heart, you go to the head of the line, buddy.
Did you see that Scadaboo injury? Cam Scadaboo plays for the Giants. You didn't see his injury?
I didn't see the injury. I saw him leaving the field.
His fucking foot. I'll pull it up. It's nasty.
I don't want to watch that shit.
But anyway, they said
kind of like Joe Theismann when he got hurt.
Well,
a different kind of bone. His stuck out. This is not as serious as Theismann's was, but it's bad.
But anyway, so he dislocated his he dislocated his ankle. And it's pretty gnarly looking, but let me see if I can find it. I'm getting all the, but anyway, I was listening to a doctor this morning, and they were talking about setting that thing.
Oh,
and the guy was asking him like, so what do? Get him to the hospital, dump him up with pain medicine? And they're like, no, like they set that thing before he gets on the cart. I couldn't imagine laying there. My foot's bent backwards like this, and they just say, okay, take a deep breath, big boy. Here we go.
Did the same thing to Kathy when she fell last year.
Pop it in.
Broke her hand.
Yeah.
It was like this.
Uh-huh.
Sticking straight to the right. They got her to the emergency room, and they said, hold on. Popped it back in and put it in a cast. Oh. And then they waited 3 or 4 days before they did surgery for the swelling to go down. Anyway.
Okay.
I can't find a very good...
That's fine.
So you're a big cruise guy now. You go to Alaska about every 3 months, it seems like, on these cruises. What's your? Do you do a train ride when you're up there? Or do you just stay on the boat and go to the docks?
We did a train ride up there. First time I went to Alaska was we went 15 years ago, and got on the ship in Vancouver, and went up, and it was what they call a shakedown cruise, and it's the last cruise of the season. It's the last ship that goes into Alaska. And you get 14 days for the price of 7 because they're relocating that ship. So we went in and spent a week in Alaska, went to 5 or 6 ports, saw the glacier and all that stuff, and then we came back and stopped in Astoria. Kathy has a brother that lives in Portland, and he came to Astoria, and we spent a day with him. Then we stopped in San Francisco, and we left San Francisco at midnight, and they had a big ice sculpture when the tide was out. You went under the Golden Gate Bridge, which was cool. And then we stopped. We got off the ship in San Diego now.
I don't have 14 days, but that would be I would enjoy that.
Last year, there's a 7-day cruise that's real popular, and you get to see about 5 ports. And I'm not a fan of Canada, so the last stop was somewhere north of Vancouver, and I didn't get off the ship because Canada can go to hell.
Was it Whistler?
I don't. I have no use for Canada.
That's one of the prettiest places I've ever seen is Whistler, Vancouver.
Me and John
Whistler,
Robertson,
British Columbia.
When we went to you guys to hunt in Canada, we got harassed in the airport.
They didn't harass you no more than they did me, Steve.
I guess I just look crooked.
Steve going to rent us an SUV.
That mustache.
Steve rents us an SUV in Saskatoon. We go out to the parking lot. He hands me the keys. I'm driving. And we walk out, and he got a Kia.
Kia
Soul. Our Ranger around here is bigger than that damn thing was.
Oh, yeah.
It was terrible. I told Steve, I said, seriously, this is what you rented? You know how he gets all worked up.
Best they had.
Then he harassed the poor girl at the Cabela's because she had to have a piece of paper to buy shotgun shells. He had to go back outside and get his paperwork. You imagine they make you have a piece of paperwork to buy ammunition?
Awful.
It's
terrible.
It's crazy up there. Well, I'm going to tell you what, the people in Alberta, they're really wanting to leave Canada big time. They had a big rally the other day. And, they can do that through they actually can make that happen. Be their own country. Be like getting another Texas.
Yeah. I'm not fond of Canada, and I hope I have to never go back.
I can tell.
So when you
Don't even get off the ship.
Now, where'd y'all go on your train trip? See, that's one of the things, my bucket list, I've never been on a train trip, and I've always wanted to.
We went up the side of a mountain.
You went to Denali?
No. That was at Grand Canyon. We went on train.
Oh, you went that one at Williamson.
Yeah, we didn't. We never did a train ride in Alaska.
I've always wanted to do one. I want to go on a train ride, and Michelle, she's really trying on this deal. I don't want to go on a 2-hour train ride. I want to go on a 3-day trip with a dinner cart, a bar cart, and go in the mountain states or up in Alaska and spend 3 days on a train where you just eat and sit and watch the country go. I would love that.
You can there's a deal in Canada that you can go across Canada on like a week trip, and it's got all that stuff, and you sleep on the train and you eat on the train and all that stuff. It's expensive.
I want to do that. And you know what Michelle's answer is? Do we have to share a bed cart with somebody else? I don't want to do that either. I want our own private room. But Michelle would be a good sport about booking this and going on this. But, boy, I think I'd never hear the end of it when we got home because I don't think it'd be her cup of tea. Would you enjoy that?
No.
See, I would. Jessie probably would because she likes to see different. You don't think she would either? See, I would like to do it. I think it would be really an interesting trip.
It's an old man trip.
It is, and I'm an old man. It's kind of like watching that show with Cary Grant.
Yeah.
Is it Northwest Passage or whatever it is, where he gets he gets on a train and goes all over the country. I've always wanted to do that, where they have a dinner cart, a bar cart, and just
You got to do that. You got to start in the East Coast and just take that train all the way to San Francisco.
I would do that, but I don't have time.
Let me tell you about
You got nothing but time after February.
What about our podcast schedule? We've always got to work around it.
You got a week. We were gone. You went, instead of going to Yellowstone, take your trip, go to Charleston.
Your mother does not want to do. She says she'll go. She would go because I want to, but she would not enjoy it.
One thing I remember vividly about Alaska, we went to a salmon hatchery. It was raining. Jumped on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Guy got on the captain had on an orange hat, had a big T on top of it. And I said, "UT, you." He said,
That's Tennessee.
That's the wrong school. That's Tennessee, University of Tennessee. And he said, I said, "How'd you get up here?" And he said, "I was in the Coast Guard. Went back home, went to University of Tennessee, took to school, got my degree, and I told my wife, we're going to Alaska." And he said, "We've been up here 35 years. You could buy up here when it was cheap."
Oh.
And he said, "I'll say one thing about the continental United States." He said, "If the Americans could figure out how to get here cheaply," he said, "they'd tear this frickin' country up like they've done the lower 48. But he said, "They got to come by airplane. They got to come by sea."
I don't know. Those winters seem pretty tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Okay, we're done, Jeff.
We're done.
On what?
No, I mean you can change subjects.
Well, I appreciate you letting us know what we can talk about on our own podcast. Boy, it's damn. That's
Appreciate it. We're done.
awful wide of you, Steve.
No, I'm not talking about that. We got off on politics, and then we got off on
That's because we talked
Travel.
about things going on in the world.
dog training and traveling. So,
People like to
how long
travel.
you been in business?
33, 34, 35, 32 years. I don't even know for sure.
I've been coming up here ever since I think he was open a year.
We'd hunted a couple of years before. I think your first year to actually be here was in 95.
Okay, well, met y'all at that show in Dallas, and we came up here, and the rec room now was an old house,
Yep.
and you slept about 8 or 9 people or 10 people, and you had 2 or 3 guides, and everybody ate at a big round table, and
We would usually have 6 people stay here, maybe 8 sometimes.
and I'll never forget first time I sat down and ate with Ron. He got up and asked if anybody wanted the ice cream, and everybody wanted some ice cream. Well, he served everybody ice cream, and he sat down with a half gallon of Bluebell, and while we ate a bowl full, he ate the whole half gallon. And my daddy said, "Did you see that man eat that whole half gallon of ice cream?" I said, "Yeah," and he said, "Dang, I wish I could do that." Of course, Ron was really big back then.
You know, I'll tell you a funny ice cream story. Was Dad had his heart attack. So he calls me, and me and Michelle were in Abilene. I think we took Payne to the orthodontist or something, but me and Michelle and Payne were we were in Abilene. And Tony calls me, and he said, "Hey, Dad's in the hospital in Haskell." I go, "What?" He goes, "He's in Haskell at the hospital." I go, "What's he doing in Haskell?" I said, "He was in Lubbock because Andy's birthday was it your day of your birthday or the day before, close to it?"
I can't remember.
Anyways,
It was in September.
Dad went to Lubbock, and he took Andy to Hooters for Andy's birthday. They went to Hooters and had lunch. So that's the last I knew Dad was at Hooters. So I called Andy, and I was like, "Hey, was Dad acting weird?" "No." That's why he's at the hospital in Haskell. I think he's having some heart problems. So I drive to Haskell, and I get there, and Dad had just had a stress test done like 3 days earlier. The doctor said he was fine. So Dad said, "It ain't my heart." He said, "Just something don't feel right." So I'm sitting in there, and the doctor comes in, and Dad's blood sugar's like 1,040 or some shit. It's normally about 200. I'm like, "God dang." I said, "Dad, what'd you eat?" He said, "Well, I had some ice cream sandwiches." I go, "How many did you eat?" 6. I go, "You ate 6 ice cream sandwiches?" I go, "Do you have a cooler with you?" "No, I had to eat them fast before they melt." But that doctor came in and told Dave, "So I got some bad news." He said, "We're going to transfer you to Wichita. You got to go tomorrow." So Tony lost the coin flip. He had to drive Dad's truck back home. And so
the dog truck, the dog trailer truck.
Tony had to drive it home. So the next day, they took Dad to the ambulance to Wichita. They run these tests on him, and he calls me like at noon. And I said, "Dad, when you need me to come get you, don't call me like within 5 minutes and say, 'Oh, I need you to be here now.' I said, 'Give me some time.' So to ask them about what time they think, and I'll start heading that way." So he calls me around noon or 1 o'clock. He's like, hey, I got some bad news. I go, what is that? He said, well, they're going to have to do open heart surgery on me tomorrow. I said, well, that sucks. He said, yeah. He said, oh, we've got to figure out what we're going to do about the pheasant hunts. That's what all Dad was worried about was pheasant hunting.
Right.
He said, they say I'll be down for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. But he said, I think I can knock this out in a week probably. So he tells me. So we go to the hospital. The next day, we go there. They're going to take Dad, prep him in there. I'll never forget this. This is the funniest shit. So Dad's there, and they pull up the gurney or whatever it is to take him into the hospital. That guy says, here, sir, we'll pull this in here and we'll do it. Dad said, God damn, I'm not dead. And he said, I can walk over and get on that damn thing. He said, nothing's wrong with me anyways. Dad walks over, and there's these 2 ladies sitting in the hallway. And Dad picks his freaking gown up, don't have no drawers on and stuff. And Michelle's like, oh, my God, I did not need to see that. And Dad sits down, them 2 ladies are there. She kind of looked, Dad said, that's okay, I'm not shy. He smiles at them. So then they're wheeling him off. We're telling him, we love you, Dad. Hope, because you don't ever know with open heart surgery. You know what Dad said? Jeff. I go, what? He goes, come here. I go, what is it? He goes, listen to me. He goes, don't you fucking leave without me. I go, what? He goes, I'm going home with you today. He goes, so don't leave. I'm going to ride with you home. So don't be gone when I get here. When I wake up, I'm going home with you. I go, Dad, the only way you're going back to Knox City today is if you're in a hearse. There ain't no way you're going back from Hemdale. So he got out of surgery. We talked to him for a little bit, and that lady said he's going to be in and out all night. He said, I said, we live 100 miles away. We've been here since 5:30 this morning. This is like 4 in the afternoon now. I said, are we free to go home, you think, and come back? She goes, oh, he's fine. She goes, yeah, you can come back tomorrow. I said, okay. I get home and my phone rings, and it's my dad. What are you doing? I thought you told you to wait for me. I go, there is no way in hell they're letting you come home. He goes, I want a fucking hamburger. I go, what? He goes, I want a hamburger. I said, okay. I said, hold on. I said, they won't feed you? No, goddamn, they only let me. I want a hamburger. So I called my mom, and I said, Mom, I said, you do me a favor. What is it? How's your dad? So he wants a cheeseburger. She goes, what? I said, will you take a cheeseburger to the hospital for him, please? So my mom went and got a cheeseburger and took it to him. Well, he was out again when he got there, but he woke up. He was pissed because he wanted a cheeseburger, and he was mad I wasn't home.
Well, I went and saw him a couple of days later.
Oof.
And walked in, and he was awake, talking, and we were sitting there talking. I look over at him. I said, Ron. Oh, I closed my eyes. And I stayed about 30 minutes, and it was me doing all the talking.
Well, he stayed with us for 3 days, and this is why Tony has my mom. I had my dad. He stayed with us 3 days, and he was really confused on stuff. And we were having to give him all this. They give you all this shit you got to do for him like we're nurses. No. So one of the things we had to do was check his blood sugar every day. Well, Dad's big old meaty fingers. You tried to prick him with them little old fucking deals, and you could hardly get blood out of him. So I took the guard off of him where I could hit him with that sucker, and I did. He's, God, what are you doing? You're trying to kill me. Got blood squirting everywhere, and we'd check his blood. But he got to feeling bad. That his home health nurse came to the house, and Dad had an infection on the sac on his heart.
Right.
Best thing ever happened because they put him in a rehab hospital for 3 weeks, and that's where Dad needed to be anyways.
Sure. Well, I'll never forget that dog truck, that big old Ford, and you walk up on the side and you look at it, and it's the front, the cab and the hood, or the cat and the tail end are bent in the middle, or there. It looks like a real V. And I said, what is wrong with your truck? And he said, well, it's rusted out from the dog urine. And he said, I need to get it jacked up and get it fixed. But he said, I can't do it because of pheasants. And
Dad was always having a reason. But you know what? There wasn't a guy that died that was happier than his life. I honestly have, I think about that all the time. I can't imagine I've never known anyone that died broke that had a better life than my dad did.
When he had Raven out here for the second breeding, I brought her out here and met him in Throckmorton at the Alsop's. And he called me in 2 hours and he said, Hank's already stuck her. And he called me the next day and he said he stuck her again last night and he stuck her twice today. Why don't you meet me at Alsop's tomorrow? Well, he called me. I got to Alsop's and he wasn't there. And I called him and I said, what's up? And he said, I got a flat. And I said, you don't have a spare? Tony got my jack.
He always blames everybody else.
And his damn truck was full of lawn chairs and all kinds of stuff. And I said, have you got a spare? And he said, yeah, I've got a spare. And I said, what were you going to do if I wasn't going to meet you? And he said, some farmer would come by and help me. We had to unload that truck, and I had to jack the thing up, and the lug wrench was worn out. And I owed him $600 for something, for some dog training or something. And I said, take this money and go to the tire store in Wichita Falls, discount tire, and get you some tires. And he went up there and got tires, and he was happy as a pig in shit. He had new tires on that truck.
It's not like you couldn't have asked us for money
Well,
because he did a lot. Dad was like my
Well,
oldest kid.
y'all didn't know this, and he never.
I didn't know about this.
He wanted the boys to come over here from Alabama,
Uh-huh.
and he owed me some money. Or no, he wanted some money. He wanted $1,000, and I said, "Okay, I want you to keep Thunder for 2 more months. Is this a swap?" He said, "This is a swap." He said, "Don't you tell Jeff and Tony I got $1,000 from you." So he did the last two months of dog training for my $1,000 that I gave him. And anyway,
Yeah, I'd walk in the office. He goes, "Hey." I go, "Yeah." I get a little bit of money, you think? It's like a kid.
Make a little bit of money, you think?
It was all the time. I told Michelle all the time. And you know what? I'd give anything for him to hit me up
Ask
for
for
some.
some-
Oh, I would give
Get hit up again?
I would give anything to have that.
oh yeah, Well,
My dad and Harry and Ed, all three I miss.
sure.
All different guys, all different ways, but I miss them so much around here. Just the little things that you take for granted that you get someone to do and stuff around here. Because I could call Dad up, like especially when we were traveling. Dad was around here. I had somebody I could count on to go do stuff.
Sure.
And Harry was the same way. Ed I couldn't count on as much,
Well-
but I could Harry all the time too. And I miss that.
Yep. Well,
And-
let me give you a little advice, and I don't give advice. Your mama's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
See her as much as you can, because when she's gone, she ain't coming back either.
No, I know that.
Okay.
Talked to her last night.
Well, that's talking and seeing her is 2 different things. Take her out to lunch one day or whatever.
She doesn't want to go do nothing, Steve.
Well, go force her to get out of the house.
Well, I try sometimes, and she's hard headed.
But mamas are real special. Dads are special too, but you always have a special place in your heart for your mama, because they were the ones that wiped your nasty ass and did all that stuff when you were growing up.
There's no doubt about that. But I was closer to my dad
Oh, I
because
understand.
Dad was like it's hard to explain. Kind of like the boys. Dad had a different relationship with them than most grandpas do, probably. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, probably.
And Dad would say stuff around you that he wouldn't say around a lot of people. But Andy and Dad were really tight.
Yep.
Probably more tight than he was with anybody.
Yep.
Well, I didn't think he liked me. He always made me go to his truck to fetch shit.
He thought the world of you.
Motherfucker knew right where it was, too, though. I couldn't see it, but if he wanted a pencil, he could tell you where it was.
I came out here to get papers on this last litter of pups that Raven had. And I said, "Have you got them?" He said, "Don't worry about it. I got them." I said, "Where are they?" And he said, "They're on the dash of my truck." And I said, "Oh, shit." I pulled up to his truck, and we met somewhere, and here they are.
If an Indian reservation was a truck, my dad was a fucking Indian reservation.
But the funniest thing was when he cleaned that truck out, he caught 30 mice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dad was all just, you couldn't, but everybody that knew Dad knew that's the way Dad was. At the fire station, they talk about that. Dad would come in, like being out all night partying and shit. Dad was a single man for most of his life, and he enjoyed being single. He liked doing what he wanted when he wanted. But they said he'd come in and they'd throw out all the stuff from the night before that they had for dinner, and any leftovers to clean the refrigerator out. And Dad'd go through, whoa, hold on, don't throw that shit away. And he would pull out what they got. He may want to eat it.
What did he say? Been happily divorced for 22 years?
Yeah, he
One
said-
1 week moment.
Yeah. He said, I was happily divorced for 22 years. So he was a character. He was a classic, kind of like Willie Nelson. There'd never be another Ron Stanfield.
Yeah, there is. It's Tony Stanfield.
Miss him every day.
Yeah.
Tony and my dad are a whole lot alike.
Yeah.
Whole lot alike.
Hard-headed.
All right, let's get out of this place. We've had a good day, Steve. We've got big
Thank
hunt.
you for helping me with Roy. I think it was beneficial. So I appreciate it.
I'm be back out here the 12th, and we'll try to do something. Set a little time.
How many times are we going to see you this year?
Well, I'm coming out the 12th of November, and then I'm supposedly coming out the 8th or the 9th of December.
And then we'll see you in January, too.
Yeah, we'll see you in January, and Thunder will be out here, so I hope Thunder will do fine. He's probably got one more year in him, but next year Roy will slip into the number 1 slot, and I'll hunt him as much as I can, depending on my health. And
You'll get you another dog by then.
no, I think I'm done with dogs, because if he lives to be like his mama did, I'll be 78, and You talking about across the old son of a bitch now, I'm telling you.
You're getting that way now anyways.
Anyway, a puppy would wear you out.
Trust me, I know.
And you're what, 38?
Yeah.
I walked in Andy's house last night, and I'm telling you, Reese let Roy out, and he mounted thunder, and then came to me, and it was nonstop till he finally settled down. The only way he settled down is put him back in his crate.
I wish they'd bring Roy out here when Amos is out here and let them play together. A lot of energy.
Oh yeah,
Because Ollie, he's not that much energy sometimes.
he's crotchety old man.
Ollie looks out. This morning, they went out, first thing in the morning, go out to the bathroom. So about 6 a.m., they went to the bathroom. Come back inside. I feed them about 6:15, 6:20. Amos is on top of me, crawls right up on. He thinks he's a lap dog. He's a Labradoodle, but he thinks he's a 6-pound poodle. Crawls up, gets in my face, looking over the computer, seeing what I'm looking at, like he knows what's on there. Then he wants to go out again. So I go put him out. I say, "You want to go outside?" Ollie goes to the door and looks out there and sees Amos waiting on him. Amos wanting to play, and Ollie will go back and lay down. He don't care if he's got to go to the bathroom or not.
Okay, I'll hold it.
And so finally, I'll walk outside and I'll make Amos come in, and Ollie go to the bathroom. But there's times Ollie just like, I don't want to jack with that damn dog.
So when they were gone, they left Ollie at their house, and I had to take care of him. And Amos, lady that works for us, took Amos to her house, had him for 5 days. Let Ollie out, did his business. Well, that last day, I had to take Amos back home. They were driving home, and later like, just take him home, and it'll be easier. Save me a trip. So I let Ollie in that front door.
Amos, you mean?
I let Amos in that front door, and Ollie just fucking.
He looked like he melted.
He's back.
That's funny.
Son of. He's like, I had a week.
That's funny.
Nobody was here bothering me because he got Ollie has sundowners. Like Biden does. That sun goes down, and by God, Ollie is looking for
Place to sleep. How old is
He's
that?
8.
Okay.
But he will at 9 o'clock at night. He'll look up at me and he'll go.
He gets pissed at them for staying up at night.
Yeah, he in the summertime, not like hunting season, he loves because we go to bed early. But during winter off season, we may stay up till midnight some nights.
Right.
And he'll look over at me about 9 o'clock and be like,
You going to bed soon?
I was like, just go get in bed.
That's funny. That's funny.
We were over there late one night, and he kind of paced. It was late, and he was just kind of pacing like, the fuck are they leaving?
Yeah,
It's bedtime. But get them out of here.
Well,
and
dogs are peculiar.
I'll take a shower and come and shower at nighttime, and I put him in bed. Somebody's just out. Can't even hardly move him. As soon as they close that door and that light's out, he's out. And if in the morning time, if you sleep in the morning and he'll start stirring, I'll be like, Ollie, go back to bed. He goes back to bed and lays down. As long as you tell him. He's a really good dog. He's been a good pet, and him and Amos have damn sure different personalities. Amos is really outgoing, and I don't remember Ollie being even outgoing like that when he was little. I mean, he'd retrieve Dove and everything, but he just an old guy now. You know how it is, kind of like you, Steve. You and Willie Nelson.
yeah, and my bottle of bourbon.
There you go.
All right,
That's not a very good. I looked at that again. I think I hope it's 80 because that's a better volume. I can't see it because of my.
What's on top? What's it say? Spirits or something?
Spirits and spice. It's got some kind of spice in it. It's more of a. It's got a real good flavor. I don't think it's got a whole lot of zip. Is it 30% by volume?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty weak, but it really tastes good. You can put a nipple on that thing and drink the whole bottle and go play 18 holes of golf probably.
I'll tell you what. I'll give $100 for you to drink that whole bottle.
No, I'm not going to drink that.
Jeff's got a golf bet with a guy we do jiu-jitsu with.
Yep.
He shot an 86.
Shot in 96.
No, I thought it was an 86.
No, it's a 96.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
No, it's a 96.
Anyway, Jeff said he'd give him 10 strokes.
Oh my Lord, Jeff. What are you playing putt-putt?
$100 a stroke, he said, and he's going to give him 10 strokes.
No, it was 5 strokes. The kid come back and said, I'll take 5 strokes. I said, okay, $100. I can go out today and shoot a 90.
Whose ping bag is that?
That's
Chandler's
bag. Yes. I can go out and shoot a 90.
But
today.
you were going to give him 10 strokes at 96.
Well, then he said 5. So I said,
understand,
okay.
but you popped off.
I think I could beat him. I think
You
he'd
think
choke.
you can shoot an 86?
Yeah, I think he'd choke. I don't think he's that good a golfer.
Steve, an 86? He hadn't played in 3 years.
Don't matter. Golf's not something you
Who are you?
That's tough.
86?
if you hadn't played in 3 years. I hadn't played in a year because of my condition with my shoulders and my neck.
Mm-hmm.
And
We're playing at Knox City. It's not hard.
you ought to have a benefit golf tournament out here.
Benefit for who?
For
I don't want to do. I've got enough shit going on.
Okay,
I got between Coat Man raffle tickets I still have and everything else we
how
do.
many of those raffle tickets you sold?
I've got 21 to go. Do you want to buy one?
I bought 100 when I was out here. I mean, I bought
not for
6.
that. That was for the. I got too much shit going on.
That's fine. All right.
If you bought 100, I would be happy.
I was going to run it for you, but I won't do that.
You can do that.
Nah.
There you go. No. You just popped off. You can do that.
I used to do those benefit golf tournaments. It's really pretty easy, but dealing with a bunch of farmers, it may be tough.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'll let you know how Jeff's golf challenge goes.
That kid's
Okay.
never going to play me for money.
Okay.
You got to shoot a 91.
I can do that.
Okay.
He seems to serve himself.
Got to count all your strokes.
Well, no shit. Now you're calling me a cheater.
You can't pencil whip that. You can't pencil whip that
I can
scorecard.
promise you that kid right now is going to be making sure I play exactly. He ain't going to play anyway.
Well, we'll have a scorekeeper with each each player.
Each of you.
I'm going to the fact that kid is going to.
You're just going to intimidate him. Just big dick him out there on the links.
Make him nervous.
Yeah. Let me know how that goes.
Okay.
All right, we're out of here.
That kid can whip my ass though.
Yeah. But you're going to get him on the golf link. You're going to intimidate him on the golf link. So,
Well, I'm not going to physically intimidate him because he already whipped my ass in jiu-jitsu, but I can beat him in the. All right, let's get out of here. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all. Have a good day.
goodbye.
See ya.